Yeah. What I'll do is I will, just to be safe, I'll skip forward to the point where, there we go. I'll skip forward to where he is not anymore. So I'm skipping the funny little intro.
Welcome to Demolition Ranch. Glad you're here because I need someone else to suffer a little bit with me and having to look at that. So the premise of this video, I wanted to buy the cheapest pistol I could. I went to a pawn shop
Yeah.
and I picked the cheapest one they had. And I want to see, can a cheap pistol be good?
I know the feeling. Mine does that to me all the time. Although I think right now mine is probably hiding under my blanket because it seems like lately when I'm streaming, she'll go into my bedroom and kind of go under my blanket and just snooze. It's really cute.
What they had, the cheapest pistol that they had was actually a brand new one. This is a brand new high point, full
Okay.
size, 40 caliber. Is this not the ugliest pistol you have ever seen?
Yes, it
Oh, it
is.
just disgusts me to even look at it. It's hideous.
Yeah, that's ugly.
It doesn't feel good in the hand. It makes weird noises. It's super heavy and big and blocky,
Ugh.
but
I don't like his weapon handling there. It's not a good. I don't like that he pointed it at the camera and this his hand. That's you know, technical. You know, just like I do. You treat every weapon like it's loaded.
brand new, it was really, really cheap. Like crazy cheap. Ugh. So this pistol is a polymer frame pistol, just like these two. And I brought out sort of an assortment. This is like, you saw this in the last video. It's the FN 57. It's like one of the nicest pistols that you would consider carrying. I mean, like it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's a nice gun, really nice. This one is a more reasonable pistol. I would call this a budget pistol. This is the Canic TP9SF. It's a
Yeah, but it's still a good. I mean, I'm sure he does, but it's always good practice to treat every weapon like it's loaded, even if you've cleared it, just to maintain safe firearm handling practices. Um, I'm 100% sure he did clear everything first, but it's just, safe firearm handling is the way to go just in case.
budget pistol for sure, but they don't look like trash. They look nice. They're just not ugly. I think it's a great looking pistol. Does great. Then at the low end of the spectrum, you have this. Price wise, the high point cost about half of what our budget pistol cost. It cost about probably 10% of what this gun cost. So, I mean, I guess it gives it a little room to be ugly because it's cheap. It's cheap. I mean, that's why I bought it today. It's cheap. It's so gross. I think it's worth mentioning that I have a little bias. I don't like this pistol. I don't want to like this pistol.
Yeah.
I actually hate everything about this pistol. Um, but I've heard people say that they like the pistol after they shoot it. It's a good shooter. I've also heard people say it's
Okay.
trash. I don't know. We'll see. I I hope I.
Everyone has their own opinion. I actually I at one point in my life, I had the chance to test out three different firearms back to back to back to see which one I liked the most. And it was oh yeah, I tried three firearms. I tried the 6 hour. I think it was the P226. Um, a Smith& and Wesson. For the life of me, I cannot remember what model the Smith& and Wesson was. It was one that had interchangeable grips to make the grip either a little thicker in the hand or thinner in the hand. And a Glock 19, perhaps. I don't recall exactly which Glock model. I tried all three, and bear in mind that prior to this, I'd actually fired a, 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 a 6 hour P 229 uh, before, and I thought it was fine. It was perfectly serviceable. Uh, I also had the opportunity to fire a Kimber Ultra Carry too, which I loved. I mean, that cemented my love for the 1911 style firearms. With that Kimber, every time when I fired it, I was able to. I had the opportunities to fire it multiple times. Every time I would fire the Kimber in comparison to the 229, I was able to shoot the 229 fine, and my groupings were fine with it. The Kimber, every time, not only were my groupings perfectly decent, I am no competitive shooter, but my groupings with the Kimber were good. In a real life scenario, I would be able to defend myself with the Kimber. But the one thing about it, every single time when I was on the firing range, every single time I would draw that Kimber for the first time during at that session. First time I would draw that Kimber and shoot, it was a dead center hit every time. So the first time cold drawing the Kimber and firing, it was a dead center hit on the silhouette every time. When the others, like when I do follow up shots, they wouldn't the grouping wasn't center ring tight, but it was still good grouping. But that first shot was always dead center every time. So when I went through and I fired the 220 226, wasn't a huge fan of it, but it was okay. I thought for sure that I'd like the Smith& and Wesson because I was able to put on a smaller grip. 'Cause I have smaller hands. So I thought for sure the Smith& and Wesson would be comfortable. Turns out I was a heck of a lot better shot with that Glock. The Glock, when I fired the Glock, I did so much better with that Glock. Um, it was actually impressive. So yeah, I've been able to fire multiple firearms in the course of my life, and so the different feels make a difference. But it's also I've also been surprised with how well I've done with some of the firearms that I was not expecting to do well with.
In this video by telling you this gun is terrible. Also, single stack magazine? What is this, 1911? But seriously, it only holds 10 rounds. That's stupid.
Well, I would know I don't have anything. I don't have any objections to the 6 hour, and 6 hours fine. It's just for my hands, for comfort of my hands. Um, I would not. It would not be my preferred choice. And at P320, my guess would feel uncomfortably big in my hands. Would I be able to shoot it? Yes. Um, Oh, is it? There was a safety recall on it. So does the 320 actually have a physical safety on it? Is that one with an actual physical safety? Ooh, it's a drop safety. Oh. Ooh, that's dangerous. Oh my.
Oh, it's so heavy. Okay. Let's see if I can make it through all 10 rounds. It's probably why the magazine capacity is so low, so it has less chance of jamming in a mag. Oh, I hate it. I hate it already. Okay. Success. Oh, that trigger's disgusting. I missed. It's probably the gun's fault. Okay.
No, I haven't had the opportunity, unfortunately, to fire some of the real subcompacts. I have like held the I forget which model it is, but the Glock subcompact, and actually I found it to be a bit too small. If I was to use a subcompact Glock, I would want the magazine to have that little extension piece on the front of it to rest my pinky on for a comfortable grip. Otherwise, I'd find myself folding the pinky up underneath the underside of the magazine, which would not be a comfortable grip. So it's like, unfortunately, like my hands, I'm in this really weird in between with compacts are usually I'm fine with compacts. Subcompacts are actually just a little too small for me. But compacts I'm just fine. But I never had the chance to have. I mean, like I haven't handled a firearm in several years now. So there are models that have come out that I've never even had the opportunity to even look at. And especially since coming to Canada, it's not like pistols are as widely available as they are in the United States. So I have not, the only thing with reasonably wide availability is like rifles and shotguns.
I mean, as luck would have it, it made it through. It's just lucky. That's good ammo. I put good ammo in the gun. Give her a go again. Second magazine. That was weird. It did something there. See? Okay, and now what? Let me just stick that bullet back in there. It's doing something funky. Okay, alright. I feel like I'm wanting it to fail. Let's do it and hit something. I'll shoot slow. I'm gonna go for a headshot on the left target. Alright, I think it's me that's pulling it off target.
Like, what did just happen? Something happened there.
It off target.
Oh. Oh, that was weird. That was very weird. Okay, you saw that, right? When he fires his next shot, the slide actually locks back for a second. And I'm not sure if it snaps forward on its own. Yeah, I'm not sure if the slide snaps forward on its own or if he thumbs the slide release. Right there. So, because he looked at it, I'm thinking he didn't do the slide release. So, yeah, that's not good. That's absolutely not good if the slide is locking back like that mid-shoot. And I'm guessing that's what he was hearing before. Like, it happened so fast, I didn't see it. Well, this is more than blue collar. This is lower than blue collar, I'd say. Um, like when he was saying like the gun's doing something, I'm thinking that's what was happening. Is that the slide was locking back for about a second and then snapping forward before you realized it. But that's definitely not good.
This thing, when you shoot slow, does seem sort of accurate. But clunky. So clunky. Yeah. 10 more rounds in it. I'm gonna shoot this one as fast as I can. No aiming at all. So I would say we had a little bit of a feeding issue, like when I first put a mag in one time, but that seemed about it. And it's a brand new gun, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Guns do need a little break-in period, and this one did not have any yet. Overall, it's running better than I thought it would run.
No, no, it's not. I'm wondering if he's going to change his mind when he reviews his playback. That slide lock issue, that's a huge problem. That is a huge problem. And I'm wondering if we're going to see him change his mind when he reviews his playback.
Let's see if we can change that. We'll do a little torture on it. You ever seen those videos where they get a gun and tie it with a string to like...
Yeah, but maybe what that, in my opinion, having like mid-shoot to have it slide lock like that multiple times that's a unacceptable failure, in my opinion. Um, I'm not even sure I'm not even sure if you oil the rails up a little bit, if that would help because he'd already put plenty of rounds through there, and even a brand new gun will have some kind of like oil from the manufacturer. And when you start firing that thing, the oil gets worked up, and it's supposed to get progressively more lubricated. And this was towards the tail end of my shooting that we were seeing this slide lock issue. So that would be very concerning. I would not trust that weapon that in that amount of time had 3 slide lock issues. I would not trust a firearm that did that 3 times in that short of a time period. Hang on one second. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I thought I heard someone knocking on my door. They were knocking on my next door neighbors. Then yeah, I see why he hates the high point. Well, he hates the high point because it's ugly. That was his initials, and he's the high point because it's ugly. But I would hate the high point because of the malfunctions it's experiencing. That's me.
The back of a truck. And then they drive the truck off road and drag the gun through like the rockiest areas ever. Yeah, we should do that. I mean, it looks so bad to begin with that honestly, this might be an improvement. I don't know if you guys can see in there. It is full of dirt. I mean, like, dirt went everywhere.
Thanks.
Barrel's clear. Okay. Oh, that was a little tough.
Yeah, that's
Oh, still
yeah, that sound was painful.
going. I mean, I gotta say, it was a little delayed at first, but it did function. Look at that. Look at that dirt it's throwing back on my hand out of here. When it's ejecting dirt out of the bottom of the slide, that's how you know your gun is a little too dirty. But
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a slide rail issue. The dirt there was exasperating it. The dirt torture he just put through is exacerbating the slide rail issue, but it's definitely still got a slide rail issue. Uh, yeah, and there's something going on there because it was doing that before it was dirty, and there's definitely and it was just more exemplified. I think it was happening so briefly during his initial firing test that he maybe didn't notice it. He was just like, something's going on, but he couldn't figure out what because it only happened for like a second or maybe slightly less. But we were able to see it. Like I didn't catch it until that last time. But and that could have been the angle of the camera. But because of the dirt, it caused it to be much more pronounced. So that's definitely not stuff. And if that's and that if it's a design flaw, that means that the entire high point thing is not good.
let's go ahead and give it a pass on that. Good
No,
job.
do not.
Let's step up our game a little bit. If you were here right now, I know what you would be wanting to ask me. You would be wanting to ask, Matt, is that flesh-eating bacteria sitting on top of all this water? And if you did ask me that, I would tell you, I don't know.
I don't know. You know what? Honestly, I don't know if it would be QA. I I'd need to do some research into I'd need to do some research to see if it's a common complaint. Because if it was, it's a design flaw and not a QA for this specific fire, for this specific unit.
I think we're still okay. My skin feels really itchy though. Next up is a very scientific test. I'm pretty sure the military and the FBI does this with all their service pistols. I'm gonna take a measured amount of pond scum and put it in the gun and see if it fires.
I can't believe he's doing this while holding the weapon. I gotta say, this guy is very reckless. And for anyone in chat that is not experienced with firearms, do not do what he's doing. This is very rare. I was not thrilled when I was seeing him standing in the pond shooting and then shooting at the water right in front of him. I I was not a fan of that. And what he's doing right now is incredibly dangerous and should not be done. What we saw Scott doing in the previous video. Yeah, I mean, what we saw Scott do in the previous video is safer. He was doing it in a much more controlled environment. He was doing it from effectively remote, where he was putting an engine block between him and the weapons, which were still a fair distance away. So he was doing it in a safe manner. What he's doing right now is not safe because, yeah, Scott was far less impulsive. He actually planned it out and planned for safety. And he always does. You know, this, like, if this pistol explodes, and this pistol could very well explode in his hand by him doing this. And yeah, he is obviously operates in a much more reckless way that is unsafe. And no one should be behaving in this way.
Ow, this thing kicks a little bit. Uh-oh. I don't know if there's still a bullet in here or not. Nope, there's not. Okay. It still fired them all out. It's having a little bit of issue, but still doing all right. Have you guys seen my high point? I can't find it anywhere. Oh, there it is. Down there right under the truck tire. Hope the truck doesn't go forward. Oh no! The truck just ran over my high point. Hey buddy. You okay? You look okay. Let's try it.
Yeah, running over a pistol with a vehicle is not going to do anything. That's that's never been any kind of a test of durability for a firearm. You can run over any firearm with a car and it's not going to do a thing to it. Exactly, yeah.
For the next test, I won't be shooting the high point. I'll be shooting the canic. Have you ever been in one of those situations where your best friend and you are standing there pointing guns at each other? And you know, like, you don't want to kill him because he's a good guy. He's just confused and thinks he wants to kill you. So instead of shooting him, you just want to disarm him? Me too, all the time. Come on, man. Come on, Lieutenant Dan. Dude, I made you. I made you. Don't you point that gun at me. You would be nothing without me. Okay, he's just confused. I'm just gonna disarm him without killing. Well, he's been disarmed. Lieutenant Dan has no arms. I'm gonna disweapon him without killing him. Be cool, dude. Come on, we're friends. We
I'll laugh if he misses.
don't need to do this. We don't. Well, that was dramatic. Buddy? Buddy, you okay? Lieutenant? Lieutenant? Oh, that might hurt. Good grip, though, buddy. Great grip, great grip. Bullet, straight to the chamber. Put a nice dent there. Broke our slide. Will it rack? Nope, it's locked up. Man, it's close, though. Oh! Hold on, hold on. What happened? No way. I've never wanted a gun to run more than I want this one to run right now. Oh, come on.
So I'm sitting here with my mouth open because I can't believe he actually shot that afterwards. Because how does he know there's no barrel deformations? Like, you saw what I did to the slide. How did you know there wasn't a barrel deformation that could cause the barrel to explode? Like, my job. This man is one of the most unsafe firearm owners I've ever seen. Yeah, it is. My concern is like it hit the breech. And no, but my concern would have been that the force of the impact could have caused some deformation of the barrel just off of the breech. Because you've got all that pressure. That was right at the breech, just before where kind of the barrel proper started. Let me back it up to where we see that. Yeah, look at that. That is the breech right before where the barrel starts. So the amount of pressure going in there, you can see the dent there. Like that would be for me, that would be a concern that there could be some damage right here in the barrel, some kind of deformation where that could prevent the round from properly leaving the barrel. Like, if you want to test it, do a remote test like what Scott does. Well, maybe. And again, like this is just like a hypothetical for the purposes of safety. Maybe, but I mean, this is a polymer gun. This is and it's really cheap. So who knows if the barrel is made out of, you know, who knows if the barrel is made out of a quality metal that it would not see deformation beyond this impact point. Like who know, like potentially a crack that would run along this barrel that when you start putting rounds through it could widen that crack further and further. Right, exactly. You could see that there could be a crack. And if that barrel cracks and then expands and you're sending rounds through it, I mean, especially, this close afterwards, there could be a crack and then you're going to send an entire magazine of rounds through this at high speeds. That's going to cause that crack to expand very rapidly. Like, if you want to test and fire, if it fires, sure. But don't test it in your hand. Do it remotely. Set it up in a clamp with a string pull like Scott does, and you can even rapid fire. You just keep pulling that string. Like, Jesus.
If you make a gun that can take a bullet to the freaking chamber and bend the slide and it still runs? Woo! Okay, high point. Hate him. Still hate him. I'm gonna go there and say I still hate him. But truck gun, throw it in your truck, put it under the seat. If it ever gets stolen, oh well. And I would go as far as to say it's bulletproof.
It's not,
Yes!
it's not
Thanks for watching the Most Rage.
bulletproof.
I love you. And we'll see you next time.
It's not bulletproof, it's bullet resistant. If it was bulletproof, it wouldn't have dented like a son of a bitch like that. Oh. Oh my God.